So this guy has essentially come up with a technical and an economic model that could effectively replace or repurpose centrally controlled financial institutions. Today, we will talk about Velo and specifically about the involvement of Professor Robert Townsend, who teaches at MIT. There are a lot of extremely specific technical connections into Stellar. And it appears as if there are possible upcoming technical connections into XRP because Velo has been posting about it more, which would all make a lot of sense because they are all direct products of the PayPal Mafia. Here is Professor Robert Townsend called out on Velo's site, right along with Professor David Mazieres, who is the one who redesigned the Stellar Consensus Protocol to be what it is today, which is far more advanced than the original XRPL fork. Here is Robert Townsend called out as part of the MIT economics department. And if you go on his Wikipedia page, it explains how he has been concentrating on different general economic equilibrium models and contract theory and mechanism design for an extremely long time. It also calls out he has concentrated on a ton of other things that I have no idea what any of that actually is, aside from the word decentralization. So I won't even pretend to even understand any of it. It is important that he has specifically concentrated on the economy of Thailand, which is probably how he got so involved in Velo. Here is a syllabus for one of his courses at MIT, and it is focusing on the design of financial contracts and markets, optimized regulation, e-payments and digital currency, including CBDCs, and optimal monetary policy. He has published a ton of things over time in between the 1970s and now. One of the important publications that specifically calls out Velo and a couple of other important things is his 2019 paper. In that paper, he is explaining how the Velo protocol is so unique because of how the contract designs involve the Velo token itself. One could view the Lightnet system as creating real capital for infrastructure with a positive rate of return, which would entail less inflation because it reduces demand for fiat, creating actual profit to be redispersed for growth and results in cheaper and faster payments. So this guy has essentially come up with a technical and an economic model that could effectively replace or repurpose centrally controlled financial institutions. Here is the 2019 paper, and it was republished in a different format here. The important things out of here are that if you search for Velo, it is specifically called out 19 times. If you search for Stellar, it is called out about twice as often. And if you search for Ripple, it is called out almost twice as often as well. The Velo white paper got published in 2022, where it calls out its digital credits and digital reserve, which are two of the parts of the protocol that make it so unique and specifically contribute to the increase in value of the Velo token over time. He was also called out as a contributor a 2022 IMF working paper talking about a multi-currency exchange and contracting platform. Stellar and Ripple pop up in here, along with Project Nexus, which I have speculated on for a while now in regards to its potential involvement and application with Velo. It is also interesting that the HKMA is called out with the Bank of Thailand, with each of those having ties into Stellar and Velo. The Monetary Authority of Singapore is also referred to, which has similar ties. I also came across a write-up that does a pretty good job of explaining how the different parts of the Velo ecosystem actually work. It stood out to me because it seems to concentrate on the contracting a lot. At this point, instead of trying to pick apart the white papers individually and then translate that into how each of them compare and contrast, I have put them all into AI and specifically instructed it to explain how Velo, Stellar, and even Ripple can be involved here.
Welcome to another deep dive. This time we're looking at something called the Velo Protocol.
Velo Protocol.
And you might be wondering, what is that and why should I care?
Right.
Well, this thing has the potential to revolutionize how we move money.
Yeah.
Especially across borders.
Especially across borders.
We're talking about faster transactions.
Faster.
Lower costs.
Much lower.
And potentially even greater financial inclusion.
Yeah.
For those who are currently excluded from traditional banking systems.
So we've got some research to unpack.
Right.
We've been looking at some stuff. And let's start with the foundation.
Okay.
Distributed ledger technology.
DLT.
Or DLT.
Yeah.
You might associate that with cryptocurrency, like Bitcoin.
Sure.
But it's much broader than that.
Right.
It's not just about digital currencies. It's about a whole new way of managing and verifying transactions.
Okay.
Think of the Stellar Protocol as a prime example.
Stellar.
It's being used for various financial services, particularly in regions where traditional banking is limited.
I see.
Now, the Velo Protocol builds on Stellar's strengths,
Okay.
but with a specific focus.
Okay.
Remittances.
Remittances.
That's the process of sending money across international borders,
Yeah.
which can be quite costly and slow with traditional methods.
I can imagine the fees eating into a lot of those transfers.
Absolutely.
Especially when people are sending smaller amounts to family members overseas.
Yeah, and the delays can be a real problem for people who rely on those funds.
Right.
Velo aims to solve those issues by creating a more efficient and affordable system.
Got it.
To understand how it works.
Okay.
Let's imagine a scenario.
Okay.
We have Alan living in Thailand.
Alan in Thailand.
Who wants to send money to his relative Bofa in Cambodia.
Bofa in Cambodia.
They each interact with money transfer operators or MTOs in respective countries.
So Alan goes to his local MPO in Thailand.
Right.
And Bofa goes to hers in Cambodia. What happens next?
So here's where Velo comes in.
Velo comes in.
Alan's MTO would have Thai boat tokens in their account on the Velo network.
Okay, so Thai bot tokens.
These tokens are crucial for participating in the network.
Okay.
They're not just your typical cryptocurrencies, though.
So how are Velo tokens different?
It's all about the design.
Design.
The Velo Protocol uses a system called the Digital Reserve Bank.
The Digital Reserve Bank.
To manage risk and ensure stability.
Okay.
At the end of each day, the Digital Reserve Bank nets the transactions that have occurred on the network.
So they keep track of who owes what.
Essentially, yeah.
That sounds like it would simplify things compared to traditional clearinghouses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to further manage risk, MTOs are required to post collateral and Velo tokens.
Okay.
This acts as a security deposit.
A security deposit.
To guarantee they can fulfill their financial obligations.
Okay.
So if an MTO can't settle their transactions, their collateral is used to cover the shortfall.
So it's like a safety net.
Right.
Built into the system.
Yeah. It incentivizes good behavior and minimizes the risk of defaults.
Makes sense.
So what are the benefits?
Right. What about Alan and Bofa?
For everyday users like Alan and Bofa, they see the biggest impact.
Okay.
Velo promises faster transaction speeds, with transfers taking just 3 to 5 seconds.
Wow.
Imagine that compared to waiting days.
That's incredible.
And the costs are drastically lower.
Yeah.
We're talking fractions of a penny per transaction.
Wow.
That's a significant improvement.
Yeah.
Especially for those who rely on remittances.
So faster, cheaper, and more secure transactions.
Right.
But we've only scratched the surface of how Velo achieves this.
Yeah.
Let's dive into the technical details
Okay.
that make this protocol so unique, starting with smart contracts.
Smart contracts.
They seem to be at the heart of a lot of these innovations.
Yeah, smart contracts are essentially self-executing contracts written in code and stored on a blockchain.
Right.
Think of them as digital agreements
Digital agreements.
with predefined rules that automatically execute when certain conditions are met.
So instead of relying on a third party to enforce an agreement,
Yes,
the code does it automatically.
exactly.
Very cool.
Velo leverages smart contracts to streamline many aspects of the remittance process.
Okay.
From escrow and settlement to managing risk and compliance.
Huh?
The beauty is that it all happens automatically, eliminating human error and increasing efficiency.
Got it.
And you mentioned that Velo is built on the Stellar blockchain.
Stellar blockchain, yeah. Yeah, why is that important?
Stellar is designed for speed and efficiency,
Speed and efficiency.
which aligns perfectly with Velo's goal of making remittances fast and affordable.
Right.
Plus, it's known for its robust security.
Okay.
But the real star of the show is the Stellar Consensus Protocol, or SCP.
Okay, now that sounds like we're getting into the nitty-gritty.
Nitty-gritty.
What exactly does the Stellar Consensus Protocol do?
It's what allows a decentralized network of participants
Okay.
to agree on the validity of transactions. Instead of a central authority validating transactions.
Right.
The SCP allows for a distributed consensus mechanism,
Distributed consensus mechanism.
where a network of validators work together to verify transactions.
Okay.
It's incredibly secure, even if some participants in the network are malicious or try to game the system.
It sounds complicated, but also very clever.
Yeah,
How does it all tie together with Velo and those Velo tokens we talked about earlier?
that's where things get really interesting.
Really interesting.
Velo's contract design has implications for the value of those Velo tokens.
Okay.
Remember how MTOs have to post collateral in Velo tokens to participate?
I do.
Well, the more MTOs join the network and the more transactions they process,
Yeah.
the greater the demand for Velo tokens.
So you're saying the value of Velo tokens is directly tied to the activity on the network?
Yes,
The more people use Velo,
right.
the more valuable those tokens become.
Precisely.
Interesting.
And that creates a strong incentive for MTOs to join the network
Yeah.
and use Velo tokens, further driving adoption and growth.
Okay, so we've got DLT,
CLTs.
Stellar Smart Contracts, the Stellar Consensus Protocol,
Right.
and Velo tokens. It's a lot to take in,
It is a complex system.
but I'm starting to see how they all fit together.
At its core, Velo is designed to solve real-world problems in the financial world.
Real-world problems.
And its token economics are intrinsically linked to its utility.
Utility.
It's about using technology to build a more inclusive and efficient financial future.
And that's what makes it so fascinating. It's not just about the technology itself, but it's about the potential impact it could have on people's lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
And look at how the Velo protocol could impact the financial landscape on a larger scale.
Larger scale.
In our research, we saw some interesting comparisons
Okay.
between countries with vastly different approaches
Okay.
to digital payments.
Digital payments.
For example, Thailand still heavily relies on paper currency,
Oh, yeah, I was reading about that.
which creates inefficiencies and limits financial inclusion.
Right. It makes you realize how much we take for granted digital payments
Yeah.
in some parts of the world.
It's a stark contrast to a country like Sweden,
Sweden,
which is practically cashless.
cashless. Wow.
They've seen a significant reduction in costs,
Okay.
increased efficiency, and a boost in financial inclusion
Yeah.
by embracing digital payments.
So could Velo help bridge that gap?
That's the idea.
Okay.
And accelerate the transition to digital economies
Yeah.
in regions like Thailand.
Interesting.
Velo provides a framework
Okay.
for creating a more efficient and accessible financial system.
Right.
It's not just about replacing cash.
Mhm.
It's about creating new possibilities for individuals and businesses.
It makes you think about the potential for leapfrogging traditional financial systems altogether.
Yeah,
We saw a similar phenomenon with mobile money in Kenya.
absolutely. M-Pesa is a great example
Uh-huh.
of how technology can empower those who are excluded from traditional banking.
Right.
While it doesn't use all the components of DLT,
Guilty.
it shows how mobile technology can revolutionize financial inclusion.
M-Pesa relies on a trusted third party, though, right?
You're right.
That seems different from Velo's decentralized approach.
M-Pesa depends on the mobile network operator,
Okay.
Safaricom,
Safari.
to manage the system.
Okay.
While it's been incredibly successful,
Nah.
there are some inherent limitations to
Ah.
relying on a centralized entity.
Right.
there's the potential for abuse of power and scalability issues as the system grows.
That's where Velo's decentralized structure comes in.
Right.
By distributing control across the network,
Exactly.
it avoids those bottlenecks and potential points of failure.
And it addresses some of the concerns about trust and transparency.
Mm-hmm.
But we should acknowledge the incredible impact M-Pesa has had in Kenya.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a testament to the power of innovation,
Right.
even if it's not fully decentralized.
It's a good reminder that different approaches can work in different contexts. Sometimes a more centralized solution can be a stepping stone towards a more decentralized future.
Now let's zoom back in on Velo
Okay.
and explore how it can create real-world benefits
Real-world benefits.
for individuals and businesses.
Okay.
One area where it's already making a difference is in facilitating cross-border payments for SMEs,
SMEs.
small and medium-sized enterprises.
Those are the businesses that really drive economic growth.
Yes.
But they often face challenges with traditional banking systems,
Right,
especially when it comes to international transactions.
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Traditional systems can be expensive and cumbersome for SMEs.
Right.
Velo streamlines those processes,
Okay.
making it easier and more affordable for them to connect with global markets.
That sounds like a game changer
It is,
for businesses looking to expand their reach.
and it goes beyond cost savings.
Okay.
Velo enhances transparency and reduces settlement risk, making those transactions more secure and predictable.
We've talked about businesses, but let's not forget about individuals.
Right.
Like Alan and Bofa.
Right?
How does Velo make a difference in their lives?
Remember Alan sending money to Bofa in Cambodia?
Yeah.
That's a classic example of how Velo can streamline and reduce the cost of remittances.
It seems like such a basic need to be able to send money to loved ones quickly and affordably.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond remittances.
Great.
Velo can be used for everyday transactions like paying bills, shopping online, or even just sending money to friends and family within the same country.
It sounds like a truly universal payment platform
Yeah.
that works seamlessly across borders.
That's the vision.
Wow.
And as Velo grows and expands its network, we can expect to see even more innovative applications emerge,
Yeah.
tailored to specific needs around the world.
It's exciting to think about the possibilities.
It is.
But this brings up an important question.
Yeah.
How does all of this impact the existing financial system? Could a technology like Velo disrupt traditional financial institutions?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And while it's difficult to predict the future, there are signs that Velo could significantly disrupt traditional players,
Okay.
particularly in the remittance market.
Those companies have enjoyed a comfortable position for a long time,
They have.
but they're known for their high fees and slow processes.
And that's where Velo can really shake things up by offering a faster, cheaper, and more transparent alternative.
Right.
It could force those traditional remittance providers to become more competitive.
That's good news for consumers.
It is.
Competition usually leads to better services and lower prices.
Yeah, exactly. And the impact could extend beyond remittances.
Beyond remittances.
Velo has the potential to disrupt other areas like microfinance.
Microfinance.
Its ability to handle micropayments and low transaction costs make it a compelling alternative to traditional microfinance institutions,
Okay.
which often struggle with efficiency and reach.
We're talking about empowering people who have been excluded from the financial system. That's a powerful idea.
It is, and as Velo continues to evolve and gain wider adoption, it could potentially disrupt even more traditional financial services,
More traditional financial services.
such as lending, savings, and even insurance.
So this isn't just about tweaking the existing system.
Right.
It's about creating a whole new paradigm for financial services.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's a gradual process, but Velo is at the forefront of this evolution, pushing the boundaries of what's possible and building a more inclusive and efficient financial future.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive,
We have.
exploring the technical intricacies of Velo, its potential applications,
Yeah.
and its possible impact on the financial landscape.
Mm-hmm.
But what I find most fascinating is how it all comes together to create a system that's designed to benefit everyone.
That's the beauty of it. Velo isn't just about technology. It's about people. It's about creating opportunities, fostering connections, and building a more equitable financial system for all.
Well said. And on that note, let's shift our focus back to the technical side.
Okay.
We've talked about smart contracts and the Stellar Consensus Protocol.
Uh-huh.
But what other design elements make Velo so unique and innovative? We touched on smart contracts earlier,
Yeah.
but I'm curious to explore how they're actually used
Uh,
within the Velo Protocol.
right.
What makes them so unique in this context?
So smart contracts are a core part of Velo's design,
Okay.
enabling automation and trust within the system.
Okay.
Remember how we talked about the digital reserve bank
Yeah,
netting transactions at the end of each day?
I do.
That's managed by a smart contract.
So it's not a person
No,
manually calculating and settling those transactions.
not at all. It's all done automatically by code.
By code? Wow.
This eliminates human error,
Okay.
speeds up the process,
Uh-huh.
and increases transparency.
Transparency.
Every step is recorded on the blockchain.
Making the entire system auditable.
That level of transparency seems crucial for building trust,
Absolutely.
especially in a decentralized system where you don't have a central authority overseeing everything.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Smart contracts help establish that trust
Okay.
by ensuring that all parties adhere to the predefined rules.
Right.
And in the case of Velo, those rules are designed to make the system more efficient, secure, and accessible.
More efficient, secure, and accessible.
Right.
We've talked about smart contracts, the Stellar blockchain, and the Stellar consensus protocol.
Mm-hmm.
What other technical elements contribute to Velo's unique approach?
So cryptography plays a crucial role in securing the Velo network.
Okay.
Cryptography.
It's the science of secure communication,
Secure communication.
ensuring that information can be transmitted confidentially
Right.
and that transactions are protected from tampering.
So it's like a digital shield,
That's a good analogy.
protecting the information flowing through the network.
Cryptography is used in several ways within Velo. Okay.
For example, when Alan sends money to BOFA,
Alan and Bofa. Yeah.
the transaction details are encrypted,
Encrypted.
meaning they're scrambled in a way that only BOFA can decipher with her private key.
That sounds like something out of a spy movie.
It does.
So even if someone intercepted the transaction data, they wouldn't be able to understand or modify it.
Precisely, cryptography safeguards the system
Okay.
by making it practically impossible for unauthorized parties to access or manipulate transaction information.
So it sounds like Velo has a multi-layered security system,
It does.
combining cryptography, smart contracts, and the decentralized structure of the Stellar blockchain.
Exactly. And all these elements work together to create a robust and trustworthy platform for financial transactions.
This deep dive has been incredibly insightful.
It has.
We've gone from the basics of distributed ledger technology
Yes.
to the intricacies of smart contracts and cryptography.
Cryptography.
And it's clear that Velo is pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the world of finance. It's been a pleasure unpacking these concepts with you.
Likewise.
The Velo Protocol represents a significant step
Yeah.
towards creating a more inclusive and efficient global financial system.
A global financial system.
And it's fascinating to see how these technological innovations can translate into real-world benefits for individuals and businesses alike.
I completely agree. This deep dive has left me thinking about the future of finance
Right.
and how technologies like Velo could reshape the landscape in the years to come.
It's a dynamic space.
It is.
And Velo is a project worth watching closely.
To our listeners, keep exploring and stay curious. The world of decentralized finance is full of exciting possibilities. And until our next deep dive, keep those brains buzzing.